Let me ask you something. When was the last time you found out about something or you saw something that you knew nothing about, but it intrigued you so much that you just had to learn more about it? When do we lose that sense of awe or wonder? Close Encounters of the Third Kind, originally released in late 1977, has a constant theme of childhood wonder, intrigue, and mystery, posing many questions but never really providing any answers, like why did the aliens choose these specific people? Why did they choose to meet with them at Devil's Tower? Why did they choose Roy to come along with them and not any of the other astronauts? Some have actually said that these unanswered questions have actually led to the film's downfall, thinking it's an ambitious film that doesn't quite reach the finish line. You spend all this time building up this whole mystery and this entire event only to leave us with more questions, causing the audience to think, what was the point of it all? Well, I actually kind of think that that is the point in a way. We're meant to stay curious. The film is telling us that we shouldn't lose that sense of curiosity because, in a way, we are all children. First of all, as some already know, Spielberg has a tendency to use light as a major element in all his films. It could represent someone being enlightened with knowledge, or it could be the light of youth, or used to show someone as divine or heavenly. In this case, it represents the light of curiosity. When people see them, they almost immediately want to learn more about them. Ever notice that when we see the smaller ships, the light on them is so bright that you can barely see the ships themselves, practically making you wonder what it fully looks like? Another way to view it is the light of childbirth. When an infant is first born, the first thing they tend to see is bright light. The very start of the film begins with eerie music that crescendos to a haunting peak, and then bright light. We are suddenly immersed into a world of mystery. A dust storm obscures almost the whole screen, representing the air of mystery surrounding our characters. They meet a local who behaves all bewildered after seeing bright light in the night sky. One way to view it is he behaves just like an infant.
He says the sun came out last night. He says it sang to him.
At the Air Traffic Control Center, they communicate with pilots who are seeing bright lights for themselves. Once they have a close encounter of their own, they suddenly act all quiet and confused.
EWA 517, do you want to report a UFO? Over.
Negative. We don't want to report.
Experts in their own field now suddenly feeling stunned and bewildered, almost like a child experiencing something for the first time. Our main character Roy is really a bigger kid than his own children. He insists on seeing Pinocchio instead of dealing with other people at mini-golf. He would rather play with his train set than help his son out with his math homework. Barry, the little boy and son of single mother Jillian, is entirely fearless throughout the film and is the embodiment of childhood wonder. He lets his curiosity lead him, and even in situations where adults would be terrified for their life, he is filled with nothing but joy and playfulness. Some have made the complaint that the movie is against the nuclear family since it doesn't really portray it in the best light. Roy barely fits in with his own family, and the household itself is pretty cluttered and noisy. Some may argue that this was just Spielberg reflecting his own experience since his parents divorced when he was just a teenager, as well as having one of his director trademarks of having neglectful fathers in his movies. But you could also make the claim that this was just a common feeling back in the movie's day. The American dream was to have a house, wife, and kids, and that was the ultimate goal in life, but in actuality just felt like a dead end. And that's the whole point of Roy in the movie. He feels like he has lost direction in his life, which is symbolized when the blackout occurs and Roy is literally driving around in the dark, scrambling through his maps, looking for direction, which then leads to his first close encounter. He has now been reborn in a way. And when he hears about where more sightings are, he immediately knows where to go now because he now has direction, a goal to reach. Another way to look at him is as a Moses figure. Earlier they mentioned the movie The Ten Commandments, and Roy even wears a red shirt, much like the red robe that Charlton Heston wore. He sees a bright light, which could represent the burning bush, where he is given a purpose to journey to the promised land and up a high mountain to receive knowledge from on high. With Barry, he obviously befriends the aliens in a way. During the beginning, when his toys come to life, and during the scene when he is abducted, as adults, we would find it pretty terrifying. But the truth is, this is the aliens just playing, having fun. Spielberg himself has said that the one image that comes to mind when thinking of Close Encounters is Barry opening up the door, and Jillian closing it back up again. Childhood curiosity represented in this one image, along with adulthood fear of the unknown.
The image that always comes to my mind is when the little boy opens the door. When I designed the shot and when I wrote it in the script, for me that was very symbolic of what only a child can do. You know, open a door when an adult would run and hide and say, don't open the door, lock the door. There's things outside we don't understand. Thematically, Close Encounters is all about children opening doors onto beautiful sources of light.
Some people have criticized the film for Roy leaving his family behind to go with the aliens, and even for kissing Jillian right before he does. And I'm not gonna lie, I can kind of understand that. I guess a part of me feels that way too. Heck, even Spielberg himself said that if he made the movie nowadays, he would have made it so that Roy doesn't actually leave Earth and abandon his family. But with that said, I can also understand why it was done this way. First of all, Roy's family, particularly his wife Ronnie, were not exactly all that likable when you think about it. All she does for the most part is talk down to him and never tries to understand what's happening. She just wants to maintain a normal life and brush away whatever's happening like dust. And then when Roy tries to build the mountain in the house, she just up and leaves him without trying to get him help. And it doesn't even feel like a fear for our safety thing, she just decides to leave when she feels she's had enough. As with his kids, I'm pretty sure they find him boring. They never want to do anything he wants to, and they even get on his nerves occasionally.
Toby, you are close to death! Come out here!
Also, it makes the journey itself more personal for Roy. Now he has to face whatever's happening on his own without anything holding him back, and for the sake of having him team up with Jillian, two people who have lost family members now have to work together to see what it was all about. And by the end, they are both rewarded for their curiosity. Also, I personally find the kiss itself to be more of a heat-of-the-moment kind of thing. This doesn't suddenly mean that they're in love or anything, they just spent a whole bunch of time and energy on this incredible journey together, so maybe some feelings could be stirred up. By the end, when we finally see the aliens, they all look like little kids themselves, further representing childhood wonder, since you could make the claim that the reason the aliens wanted to make contact is because they were just curious about us. Now, in the 1980 special edition, Roy goes in the spaceship and we see everything inside. This was a mandate by the studio because when Spielberg asked for more money to finish it properly and film the extra stuff he never got to film, they actually ordered that he show the inside of the mothership at the end because they thought that's what the audience wanted to see. However, this actually takes away from the theme of childhood wonder. We can't see inside of it because then we're no longer curious, then we've officially grown up. Which is ultimately what the film is trying to tell us, to stay curious, keep an open mind. Because when we know things and are properly informed about them, then we've reached adulthood. But when it comes to the unknown, we are all children.
What are we saying to each other?
It seems they're trying to teach us a basic tonal vocabulary.
It's the first day of school, fellas.
What's up guys, J-Man here. What'd you guys think of this video? Whatever it is, don't be shy, leave a reply. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook, X, and please support me on Patreon. All links are down below in the description. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the J-Man. Keep looking deep.